What's good, my people? It's your boy Daniel Effects here. Welcome back to the channel's episode 12, day 12 of the Indices Bootcamp. And today's episode is another one in the mindset series and the psychology series, because this is the real main value of what we're doing right here is the psychology stuff. Because again, you can find technicals anywhere on the internet. If you made it up until day 12, you made it up until episode 12 of the Indices Bootcamp, thank you for being around here for 12 episodes. Thank you for watching every episode. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for every time you reach out on Instagram or whatever to let me know that I'm doing a good job, to let me know that you guys have gained some sort of value. I do massively appreciate it, and it does go a long way in helping me stay motivated to kind of make these videos for you guys. Besides from that, Nasdaq is melting, and I was in a Nasdaq short earlier that I did short before I started this recording for a couple of reasons, but always nice to see that the buyers played out. Anyways, today's episode is primarily on a concept called probability distribution. Now, there is like two more concepts that we're going to cover in today's video. It's probably going to be a fairly long one. I don't know how long it turned out. Obviously, you guys can see it. I can't. But the main concept that I do want to cover is the idea of probability distribution. What really is probability distribution? What does it mean? And why is it so important in trading? Now, this is a concept that I really didn't understand for my first 2 years. I had no idea. Like, no one ever brought it up. I remember like my second year of trading, one of my cousins mentioned it. It was talking about probability distribution, but I thought he was taking a piss and I thought he was making jokes. And like, I never really took it seriously. But once I started to really look into this idea of what is probability distribution, what does that actually mean, and I actually understood it, it really made sense as to, this is not the key in trading, not the holy grail, but it's a major aspect that if I was just aware of it a little bit sooner, maybe I wouldn't have lost as much as I did. Now, what is probability distribution? Well, probability distribution refers to the distribution of your probability. Believe it or not, the clue's in the word. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, that refers to the distribution of your wins to your losses. For example, someone who has an 80% win rate, which bear in mind is incredibly high. I don't actually know a lot of successful traders with that percentage win rate. Most of the successful traders I actually know personally have a win rate of between 40 to 60%. Granted, it depends on the risk reward ratio, but from my experience, a lot of like big funded traders actually have a slightly lower win rate, and they're just targeting lower like risk reward ratios as well. Besides the point, but someone with an 80% win rate still loses 20% of the time. So off of 100 trade sample size with an 80% win rate, you're winning 80 trades, you're losing 20. Now, the whole idea behind probability distribution is that someone who's winning 80% of the time still loses 20 trades out of 100, all right? Now, those 20 trades can, because of this idea of distribution and probability and like maths and whatnot, those 20 losses can come consecutively. So you can take a loss, take another loss, another loss, another loss, another loss, 20 in a row before you start taking wins. And you may not be doing anything incorrectly. You may be following your trading plan to a T. You're finding the perfect setups. You're waiting for your higher time frame. Everything in your trading plan is aligned, and you're taking your highest quality setups. However, you still take 20 consecutive losers. Not because you've done anything incorrectly, but just because distribution, you essentially got unlucky with how your wins and losses were distributed, and you happen to go on a long consecutive losing streak. Now, this is the key thing right here. Now, listen up. The majority of traders don't know their win rate and they don't know their distribution. Now, granted, you cannot accurately track your distribution. Like, you can't know for certain when am I going to have a win, when am I going to have a loss, because obviously if you knew when the losing trades were going to be, you probably wouldn't take that trade. You would just wait for the next winning one and continue like that. But simply by understanding what probability distribution is, it can give you more confidence in your trading, can give you more confidence during the losing periods to keep going, to keep trading the same system, and to have faith in what you're doing. The large majority of traders, in my opinion, fail because they enter a period where they're having bad distribution because just maths, just deal with it. Like, they're having a bad couple of trades, 3-4 losses, and they begin to panic. They begin to think I'm doing something wrong. They begin to have self-doubt. They begin to question their months and a year's worth of backtesting. They begin to just be like, it's no longer working. Let me find a new system. Let me find a new strategy. Let me make a minor refinement. Let me make a tweak to the strategy. And what that does is it messes up their numbers because they're now shifting systems. So they're going from this percentage win rate and this set of numbers to this win rate and this set of numbers. And then their distribution shifts. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of restarts the counter, restarts the clock. and they're now having a different distribution, and they just continue doing this for years on end until they never find any consistency. They're like, you know what, this market's not for me, I can't make it work, and they leave it. You see what I'm saying? But it's the traders who understand, okay, cool, this is distribution. This is just simply me having a couple of consecutive losers for whatever reason, but I can still continue to trade my system. Those are the people that really, in my opinion, end up seeing success because they have the faith and they have the longevity to be like, okay, cool, this is a temporary distribution of some losses. Eventually, I'm going to come out of that and I'm going to start winning again. This also links in very heavily to risk management. If you understand your distribution and you understand your numbers and you understand your wins and your losses, etc., you will manage your risk accordingly. If it's possible for you to go on a consecutive 30 losing streak, you probably want to manage your risk accordingly for like worst case scenario. What happens if I take 30 losses in a row? Am I going to blow my account? Am I going to be in severe debt? Am I going to be in drawdown? Or am I going to be in a manageable amount of drawdown for me to let it come out of? You see what I'm saying? Again, I don't really know how clear I'm being because I haven't filmed in a little while, but that's the whole kind of summary of distribution. Now, there is tons more that goes into the idea of distribution because it's not like a very easy topic for me to cover very quickly. But that is the general summary. This links into so many aspects. Like, you guys don't understand how important distribution is, but really understanding a distribution, really understanding the fact that you can take consecutive losers without doing something wrong was a major turning point for me. Now, in my opinion, a lot of people can take a win. A lot of people can place a trade, have price go into profit, close it, happy days. I'm a profitable trader. It doesn't take a genius to do that. What it does take a genius to do is take 3 losses in a row, be like, you know what? I didn't do anything wrong. I followed my plan. My criteria was there. My checklist was met. I was disciplined. I risked the correct amount. I just took an L. And to do that day in, day out consecutively and still take losers and not have those losers like affect them, not have the losers make them upset, not have the losers make them emotional, not have the losers make them risk an extra 1-2%, not have them change around little aspects of their trading. Again, I know I literally just said this a second ago, but I'm really making a point. In a live market, this is why people fail, because they do not understand their distribution. Now, it's very easy for you to sit there and be like, okay, cool, mate, Daniel, move on, I understand this. But when it's actually you trading on a day by day and you're doing everything 100% correct, you're waking up, you're gymming, you're just, everything in your life is where it's meant to be. You're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. You're spending hours a day backtesting, 7, 8, sometimes 9 hours a day. I don't know how nuts you are, but you're spending lots of time and energy and effort backtesting. And you have a system and you're on the funded account evaluation and you're following your system and you're meeting the criteria and you're finding good quality setups and you're being patient and you're being disciplined, and then you're taking your trades and then the trades are still hitting stop loss. That is the main difficulty, because believe me, I've been there and I know how demotivating it is. I know how jarring it is to do everything you're meant to be doing, to follow your system, to take everything, like to do everything perfect and just to still take losses. It leaves you sitting there thinking what am I doing? What am I doing incorrect? And it leads you to think you must be doing something incorrect, because if you weren't doing something incorrect, surely you should be winning. See what I'm saying? And again, that's the main mind fuck of distribution, because you can be doing everything correctly and you can be doing exactly what you're meant to be doing and still lose. You see what I'm saying? And that's the main thing of distribution. It's just understanding that you can do what you're meant to be doing and you can still lose, and losing is fine. Losing doesn't directly mean that you're doing something incorrect. Something I want you guys to start doing from this point onwards is start to disassociate this idea of winning and losing and good and bad and correct and incorrect. Like, they are simply just parts of the process. You can do everything incorrectly, keyword incorrectly, and take a win. And you can do everything correctly and take a loss. Correlation is not the same as causation. You see what I'm saying? Now, this leads me on to my point about consistency. If you guys are watching this video, I don't know how long you've been trading. I don't know how long you've been on this journey, but it's a very long journey. Believe me, I know it firsthand. I was on it for more than 2.5 years before I saw any element of consistency. But I know that it's incredibly frustrating. I know it's incredibly energy draining. You're spending hours a day doing everything you're meant to be doing. And sometimes it feels like you're not moving in the correct direction. It feels like you're not getting past that hurdle, let's call it. And it feels like you're just kind of moving in circles. But I can promise you that it's a gradual, sort of step up sort of progression. You're not running up to a hurdle to jump it. You're making a gradual sort of incline until you just about clip over it, kind of thing. And an element of getting over that hurdle, an element of getting that funded account, an element of achieving your dreams, and I don't want to say it in this sort of manner, but it is luck. Not luck in terms of like sitting there gambling, like you're rolling the dice kind of thing, but luck in terms of how is your distribution going to be. And your distribution is going to vary dependent on a number of factors, dependent on market conditions, on fundamentals, on how well you can actually trade your system. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but there's an element of how well is my distribution going to be. You're going to have that one period in your trading where you come into the market, you're doing everything you're meant to be doing, you're following your plan, you're disciplined, and you have a beautiful distribution. You have a consecutive winning streak instead of a consecutive losing streak. And bear in mind, distribution goes both ways. The same way that you can have 20 losers in a row without doing anything incorrect, you can have the same 20 winners in a row by just following your system because you have a set percentage win rate and you just had a nice distribution. You've managed to avoid some of the losses and you have consecutive winners. These are where the huge payouts come from. These are when the 5-figure payouts land. This is when you pass the fundeds. These are the periods where you're going to make the most big moves in your trading, is when you have the periods of nice distribution. Now, here's the thing, and here's the real key, is no one knows when the distribution is going to be in your favor, and no one knows when the distribution is not going to be in your favor. Obviously, again, if you knew when you were going to lose, you wouldn't take the trade. You'd just be 100% win rate. It'd be too easy. See what I'm saying? So the main aspect is just continuing to do what you're meant to be doing, continuing to backtest, continuing to trust your process, continuing to gather data, continuing to be disciplined and just trade your plan and not let those losses affect you. That is it. Now, this was a relatively short video, and I was going to go way longer because I got way more things I want to cover, but I just remembered that I got a meeting that I need to attend in like 15 minutes, so I'm going to go attend that. Work never stops, but hopefully you guys learned something about distribution, and yeah, we'll run it up. But that's a nice one. You guys see that one? It's solid. But yeah, that's me done. I need to go attend this meeting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 12, day 12 of the boot camps. Very short episode, but distribution, really look into it. Look into the idea of probability distribution and how it can actually affect your trading, because I promise you it is massive, literally massive.